Welcome to First Star Let's Chat, an athletic therapy podcast. I'm your host, James Gardner, certified athletic therapist, certified strength and conditioning specialist, yoga instructor, human being. This platform, for the pros, by the pros, anybody in the performance space, and beyond. Welcome here to share in the stories of professionals, experiences, journeys, learning along the way. It's a platform to connect, to network, and to be a part of a community that cares, with conversations that matter, experiences that resonate, and generate ideas, thought-provoking, organic dialogue, passionate pros. Brought to you as always by First Star Therapy, Mobility Tape, Epic, and Benchmark Athletics. In association with the Canadian Athletic Therapists Association. It's First Star Let's Chat, an athletic therapy podcast. Thanks for being here. Thank you for being a part of it. Welcome to First Star Let's Chat, an athletic therapy roundtable brought to you by First Star Therapy. I'm your host, James Gardner, and this is a platform for the pros, by the pros. Passionate pros, organic dialogue. Let's chat. Thanks for listening. Let's roll. Very much looking forward to it. Really enjoying the conversation, the dialogue. Please feel free throughout the course of this session and any of the sessions to reach out with questions, concerns. You don't hear anything, you don't see anything. Just make sure you ask. The chat box is always open. You can chat directly to everybody or right to me, and I'll sort of filter the things that are going to Mr. Campbell this evening and to all the guests. Resources are up as well, remember, on the YouTube page and the discussion. Just trying to drive the discussion a little bit and really generate some interest in our profession, but in the collaborative approach and this whole networking angle of things as we move forward. All right, so 7:49, let's rock and roll. Let me just check that Jamal, you can hear me, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, there it is.
What's going on, James? How you doing?
What's up, man? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm always good. How about you?
Yeah, very good, man. So you know how it works. I give you a brief rundown. I'll give you a little formal intro, and this is a little spicy tonight because Jamal's had a nice little video that runs through his background made about him. So I'm going to kick from my intro directly to a little film clip that's been made of him, and then we'll come back in and chat. So hang out, watch the video. I'll just share my screen, pull it up on YouTube, and then we'll jump in. So Jamal Campbell, this is our guest tonight. Welcome to Let's Chat. This is session 7. An athletic therapy roundtable. Jamal Campbell is a professional football player in the Canadian Football League. He's an offensive lineman, and he won his first Grey Cup championship in 2017 with the Toronto Argonauts. He was drafted by his hometown team in 2016 after graduating from York University with an honors degree in sociology, and he played for the Lions from 2011 through 2015. This is a guy that is, I don't know, I was trying to think of a word to describe him, and I'll just let this next video do it because it does a much better job. But one of the most giving athletes, human beings, kind, big, huge mammoth of a guy, but his heart is just as big, and we'll get into some of the stuff that he does outside of football as well. But so much more than a football player. And this brief clip will demonstrate a bunch of that. So let me just share my screen with you for a second. We'll play this video, and then we'll jump back in.
Residents in the Jane and Finch corridor have lost 4 teenagers to gun violence. 5 people suffering gunshot wounds.
5 people have been shot in the West End of Toronto.
And this is certainly something that has rocked this community.
I hope a lot of people learn from a story like this, know that it's possible. Whatever you want to do, whatever you're interested in, it can be done.
When you come from any part of inner city Toronto, basketball is life. Basketball was my first love, and because of that, I wanted to go to the NBA. That was my goal.
I had experience in the past where large guys look like they couldn't play, but all of a sudden they just blow your mind. And I thought it was that one. I believe basketball was just one outlet that allowed teams to engage and keep themselves out of trouble.
We chose to bring the sport of football back to C.W. Jeffries because we saw a community of bright young students, and we wanted to provide them with this opportunity.
When I was in my junior year at C.W. Jeffries, he came in and was excited about his program. These are a bunch of kids that have only played basketball. We watched football, but there was no interest in it. And he came in with the Argos organization, and he said, this is what we're here to do. We're here to bring football back to inner city schools, and we want to start with you guys.
This is a sport that can teach so many invaluable life lessons to the youth of our community.
He's been a part of the process since the beginning, and when I remember my first days of football, I'm always going to remember his face because someone believed in us enough to come over here and say, you know what, we don't know what the future holds with these kids, but we're still going to give them this opportunity. You know, one thing that football's taught me is that if you can look at the guy beside you and you know that he's going to have your back no matter what, it's going to push you to go harder. Without the level playing field program, I don't know where I would be today. I remember Jason saying that you never know the impact that this program is going to have on a kid. You never know if it's going to make a difference. You wonder. But I grew up in Toronto my whole life. I went to middle school on Sentinel, and then I went to high school at C.W. Jeffries, which is on Sentinel. So it only made sense to go to York University, which is at the end of Sentinel. There's not many people that come from my community that would get that opportunity to play football. And, you know, I had so much support.
I was nervous with any of the children whenever they're making that decision, or when it comes that time for them to make that decision to decide where they're going to move on to post-secondary.
I really wanted to be the change of Jane and Finch. I was tired of hearing all these negative things. You know, I wanted people to look at Jane and Finch and say, wow, like, you know, there's success there. If this guy can do it, so many other kids can do it. I represent Toronto, but Jane and Finch, it has my heart.
He wanted to let everybody know where he came from, that it is possible, that you could live in Jane and Finch and become this athlete that was very fortunate and successful in football.
Our next selection did take part in that East-West game process. Toronto, the Argos, they took a bit of a long shot.
All right.
Oh, my God.
When Toronto drafted me, I was in shock. That was the best possible thing that could happen to me and just for the people in my city.
I was filled with emotion, and I'm getting emotional right now because you never know what your children are going to be.
You know, I have memories and I have pictures of being in high school and running out on the field with Argonaut players. Like, it was always a crazy thought in my head, like, one day I want to be an Argo, one day I want to be an Argo. But I never thought that was actually going to happen. When I got drafted to Toronto, it was almost surreal to me. But it was just amazing. Like, it does not get any better than that.
I've coached hundreds of kids since I've been here, and there's a couple of them that stand out, and he's one of them.
I'm definitely grateful for the fact that I get to stay in my community and just, you know, be the motivation for the kids that they want to do something big in life.
I am very happy to see Jamal give back to his community. I think it's a very positive and necessary thing. I get the feeling that kids who see him will be inspired. They'll have hope that one can become successful despite having a lot of setbacks.
Anything in this world that you want to do, you can accomplish. You know, we're all faced with rough days and days where we feel like the world's against us. But one thing that always stuck true to me in anything, whether it was in school, whether it was in sports, whether it was in training, is control the controllables. That's all you can really do.
That's cool.
Man, I don't know about anybody else, but if you know, hang on one second. Let me do this. Yeah, I don't know what happened here. 1 second. Let me get rid of that. Yeah, all-star team. I don't know about anybody else, but Jamal, man, first of all, before I start, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you being here. Reached out to you, not knowing if you'd say yes or no, but kind of knowing you would definitely say yes.
Exactly. You knew I was going to say yes.
Yeah, just wanted to have you on, man, have a chat. I know there's a lot of people that are interested in listening to you speak, but holy cow, man, I was uploading this video and my wife said, what, you're watching that again? You've watched that like 44 times. And every time that I watch that video, when you get drafted, I get teary-eyed watching your family excite and get you excited, and like every single time without fail. So I know that was an exciting period for you. I'll let you say hi to everybody. Just thank you again for being here, man. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to everybody here. So feel free to say hi.
Well, first off, I want to thank you, James, for having me, and I'm honored and privileged to take part in this. And just so everyone knows, my connection with James is we go back when I was a student, obviously at York University, and he was the trainer that really, really just showed me what the standard is for trainers. And there was many trainers at York that had what he had, but there was a uniqueness of James, and I'm glad to be here. So let's get this going.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, so that's the story of how Jamal and I know each other. It's been a few years since then. Your beard is bigger, your number is bigger, your arms are bigger. I don't know if your ankles are any bigger yet.
Nope, same size. Same size.
Yeah, exactly. So, but man, it's great to see you. It's great to hear from you. And let's dive in, man. What have you been doing in this COVID-19 period to stay busy and engaged, man? What have you been up to?
Okay, so for me, what I have been up to is I've just been using this time to just kind of create a schedule, create a routine, because I understand everyone's different. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, I just try to create a routine because I need a routine. Just waking up and just figuring out is not enough for me. So what I do is the night before, well, it all started 3 weeks ago. I was coming off a recovery when we went into this quarantine thing. So that first few days was good because I was recovering. Then I needed to create a plan because I wanted to hit all my workouts. So I created a 3-week workout schedule. And then I'm like, you know what? Okay, that's not enough. I need because I'm not doing anything in a day. I need to create a whole day. So I literally created a day from the time that I wake up to the time that I go to sleep. And I just try to follow that schedule every day. And I'll get into it more later or now if you want me to.
Yeah. What does a day look like right now? I mean, you said it in that video, and that video rings so true to who Jamal is as a person. You see him in the community. You see him working with kids. You see him busting his tail on the field. All around good human being beyond the football player that you've turned into in front of our eyes at York, and then you continue to evolve into. But yeah, man, control the controllables. And you and I spoke about it on the phone just by chatting back and forth about, during this period, this rings more true now than any other time and universally for everybody, right? So yeah, walk us through a day, man. That'd be awesome. That'd be a great start.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, pretty much I start my day off at 8:30 right now. So pretty much the first thing I do is I wake up right away. Right now I'm doing a lot of reading. So I'm reading the Bible, reading The Alchemist. I'm reading a lot of different books. And right now is a time where I can put that in my day and really just stick to that. Then once I'm awoken, brush my teeth and all that, then I go and I eat my breakfast, and then I start my workout at 9:30. I finish my workout. I go and shower right away, and then I use that time from 11 o'clock to 11:30 to make lunch, and then I can eat lunch. Then after that, I sit down and I just do some research online. Like right now, I'm researching the stock market. I'm researching the economy. I'm researching just different things, different ways of bringing in income in times where the ways that we know is not familiar anymore. And then at the end of that, I take some time to either do some yoga, or that's in my schedule as it is. But then after that, I take some time to just relax and meditate. And what that looks like for me in the evening every day, relaxing and meditating, is just taking the time to appreciate the things that I accomplished in that day, just the energy that I was able to invite, and just the blessings, just the simple appreciation of having a place to rent and having food on the table and having communication with my family and seeing that everyone's okay. And, that's important to me. And then after that, I take some time and make dinner. And then for me, I like to play video games at the end of the day. So I play some video games and kind of just debunk. And then, I'm usually in bed around 9:30. I try to be sleeping by 10:30, and that's the day.
Oh man, that's a jam-packed day. Yeah. So there it is, right off the phone, and beautiful. And that phone goes away when you go to sleep, right? You throw it out. Oh
yeah.
Yeah, man. What a power-packed day. And like I was gonna ask you, what have you gotten into that you weren't into, prior to this time? But you touched on a lot of things, like just. It doesn't have to be full-fledged into the things that you know already. This is a great opportunity to dive into some other areas, right? Like tinkering with the stock. I don't even know the stock market and some of those other things that you touched on. But good for you, man. It sounds like you're giving yourself a lot of breadth and a lot of different time periods throughout each day to really explore not only some new things, but yourself as well. Good for you, man. Yeah. Sounds amazing.
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot I didn't put an emphasis on this. Because I started yoga when I was actually at York. I forgot what year it was, second year, third year, but we did yoga every Saturday. When I got drafted, I stopped yoga just because I wasn't thinking about it. It wasn't there. So this last off season, at the end of the season, I actually restarted yoga again, and I noticed all the different effects that it had on both on my mental and on my body awareness as well. So I've been doing that as well because I have a membership, and obviously I can't go. So now I'm just doing my own routine at home, and it's not the same, but I'm figuring it out. So I do that. I'm trying to do that 3 times a week. I'm trying to stick to that right now.
Okay. So you and me need to talk about this. Maybe we'll do it off camera, but since we're here, I did some yoga I know you do. I certified as a yoga teacher. And for me, it's this shift in Western culture. Like in the West over here, we view yoga as this physical thing, like purely just the practice of moving and holding poses. But the actuality of yoga is all the things that you've touched on, right? It's meditation. It's going deeper within yourself. It's the physical components. It's going outside of your comfort zone and trying some other things. And I think that's amazing. So if you need a little guidance on the yoga side, I'm happy to get with you after this for sure. And there's actually a couple other people on here that teach some yoga. I know Mel's here, and a whole bunch of different people are on here that do some yoga and have been doing some movement stuff with their athletes. And I think like yoga as a philosophy, as opposed to a physical practice, is what everybody's doing right now. We're moving, we're thinking, we're trying to get outside of ourselves. So that we don't get hemmed in by our own, what's going on between our ears. You're touching on so many things that we've talked about in the first 6 sessions. And again, like there's just this thread that winds its way through. But wow, you're doing a lot, man. That's, unbelievable. What have you found with the meditation? Have you found an ability to dive deeper into yourself, to sit still for longer periods of time? What have you found with that part?
So yeah, that's always been my challenge. My challenge is staying still. My mind is always racing. I always want to see different things. I always want to learn new things. I always want to find the answer, especially with my body. Every time something's doesn't feel right, it feels uncomfortable. My hip feels tight. I can't stay still. And any of the trainers who've trained me in the past, they know that. But what I found with yoga is that it allows me to discipline myself, to force myself to make the choice, to allow my body and my mind to work, and not really just to be okay with being not in control, if that makes sense.
100% that makes sense. 100, like 1,000%. I think that is the most, if nothing else, like we're within, it's 20 minutes, but like within the first 20 minutes and the first couple times of you opening your mouth, you've already left an impression on everybody here with something to take away. That's fantastic, man. Big guy like you, big smile, big heart, and a big mind. Look at that thing. You're amazing, man. Good for you. Hey, walk us through let's just jump back to the CFL real quick and the Argos. Like, you guys would be sort of like in the preseason right now, right? Like the season typically starts upcoming, right?
Yeah. So right now we'd be in the end of our off season because camp would open up around, I think, May 12th, 14th, 17th, like that. But so right now I'd probably be in my last week of training going, and then the rest of the time I would be just recovering and just prehab and stuff like that. It's definitely been interesting because right now there's no timeline. We don't know when is what, so you can't train. You know, a lot of people here, they know as athletes or as trainers of athletes that you have to schedule things in different phases and put it in a time phase and kind of anticipate things. Right now it's just hard because I can't anticipate when to peak my training, and I don't have I have the most access that I could have to resources, but it's just a challenge right now.
Yeah, and I'll put that out there for anybody who wants to chime in with some strategies that they're using with athletes to do that. Just throw that in the chat box and we'll pull it up. I know there's some Canadian collegiate trainers or therapists here. The lead athletic trainer down here at the University of the Bahamas is in the room. There's some strength and conditioning people in the room. So these are good things. I mean, Jamal would take anything that anybody says and sit and have a conversation and chomp on it for sure. But anybody who's working and finding some things, Scotty, I know you're seeing a lot of people. So if you have anything, just throw it down there in the chat box. That might be beneficial for everybody to hear. I just got a thing that said I sound far away, so let me get closer. Is that better? Maybe that's better. I'll just get a little closer because I changed my background. See, I changed.
I like the background.
Yeah,
you got the rollers, the foam rollers.
Yeah. Make it, or yeah, you got it. Anyway, So if anybody's got anything on that end, that'd be great. Love to hear from everybody on what they're doing too, now or later. So yeah, man. So preseason, off season, and you're talking about training, and you're getting cut off. We've had hockey. Derek Shepard was on a couple weeks ago, pro hockey player in the AHL. We've had a couple MLB assistant athletic trainers on so far, and they're getting cut off as they were started. Right, hockey was almost to the playoffs. Baseball was in preseason, and you guys are sort of in this purgatory of like, wow, we're about to start. We don't have any official word yet that we're not going to start. Really hopeful that things are going to sort of like ebb the tide a little bit, stop the curve or whatever, end the curve, down the curve, change the curve, make it go the other way, and get things started. So I think that mental state plays a huge role. Is that emphasized, like the mind, let's not say mindfulness, but just like checking in with your therapy staff, your training staff? Does that happen regularly with the Argos currently, just on the mental side as much as the physical side, or at all?
In terms of the resources and the support, that's there. I've had contact with my trainers, and they've asked us if there's anything if they asked me if there's anything that I need, and things like that. But in terms of for myself, I pretty much I look within. I try to look within for the answer. I always try to control the controllable in any situation. That's important for me, and I'm not gonna sit here and say, well, wow, I don't have a gym. I can't, this is not the best thing. I don't have a nice tub, a cold tub. And I'm going to think about what I can do. What resources do I have available? What are things that I can do to try to fix the situation or make the best of the situation?
Yeah, use what you got. Exactly, man. And it's a good time to get creative too. And this is sort of where this all came from, was just to sort of connect with students, with current practitioners, with people we haven't seen in a while, with athletes, various practitioners, to kind of generate some creativity, generate some dialogue, and really kind of work together at this whole thing, because we're all going through it in different phases and different ways. So hearing you and hearing everybody who's been on has been really good, because it sort of normalizes it again for everybody, and that's just sort of the terminology we've been using. But how about your requirements in terms of strength training and your training? Like you don't have a gym, so whatever equipment you got, you're using. With the Argos, like, are they checking in to make sure you're doing stuff? Are you doing Zoom workouts with the team on this platform, or like you got a couple of buddies throughout the league that you're working with, or are you calling Dougie and getting in touch with him, or Chris, or what's going on?
Yeah. So all right. So I was fortunate enough for the Argos to actually give us some equipment for us to work out with. So that was, to be honest with you, I don't think I would be sitting here with the same positive mind if I didn't even have the bit of equipment that we have. But I was able to get some dumbbells, some heavy dumbbells, 115. So I do goblet squats with that. I got all the bands. So like you said, just being creative. And right now, because I'm not in the gym with the bars, I'm using this time to just really, really focus on mobility and like that, the movement part of my muscles and things like that. Because I find in the off season around this time, this is when I'm going for that weight. I'm trying to get the numbers. I'm trying to beat my body up, trying to get it ready for the season. So right now, this is like complete opposite of what I would be doing. So I'm trying to embrace it, and I'm just trying to take something out of it. And yeah, I've been in contact with Chris. Chris has a crazy setup. He'll let you know about his setup. His setup is perfect for him because he's Polish and he's good at squatting. So his setup is great, and he'll let you know about that. But social distancing, so I don't work out with him.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough, man. Well, yeah, that's it, right? And it's starting to explore some of those corners and movement and mobility and like your ability to control your body. These are areas that as therapists and as trainers and as strength coaches or performance personnel or human beings that work with other human beings, optimizing functionality, I guess, or like stability in certain areas you haven't had it before that work for you, getting into your position, out of your position as an offensive lineman. Like these are things that you can still work on. And some of the yoga stuff you touched on and the mobility stuff and the strength stuff that you are doing with that light 115 dumbbell.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just working through those ranges and starting to explore maybe a little bit more range in some joints and, sounds like you got a good plan working for you and you got some good guidance. That's awesome. It's great to hear, man. How about the therapy staff in terms of their checking in? I've been talking with a lot of practitioners just by, WhatsApp and on here, just getting some dialogue going back and forth about, it's really hard for us as practitioners right now because the manual component is a large part of what we do, right? Like if I want to talk to you about your hamstring, I could talk to you about your hamstring group and we could do some stuff and I could watch you move and that's the old eyeball test. But most of the practitioners in the room would say that's only a very minimal, you're doing the hands thing, but like this
you gotta feel.
Yeah, you need to feel it as an athlete, but we need to feel it as practitioners, right? Like, let me see what the tissue's saying. Let me feel what the tissue's saying. Let me feel what the tissue's saying and what you're saying at the same time. So it's been a really difficult time for us as practitioners to jump in and virtual stuff is good because it allows this. It allows connectivity from a mental standpoint and checking in and all those things. But the manual side, it's really difficult, right? Like I went through an exam the other day with a young collegiate athlete from back home in Canada, and I was walking through a shoulder exam, and I was like, I had some good ideas about what I was going to do, but when it comes to certain orthopedic tests, if you're trying to give somebody a diagnosis, like I want to try and tell you what may be wrong, and here are some other things. It leaves a lot to be, it leaves a lot out there. It leaves a lot off the table. So yeah, it's cool, man. It's kind of a cool exploration, though, right? Like we have to dive in. We have to do what we can, and like you said, we can sit here and stew about all the things that we can't do, or we can just dive in and do the things that we can. So those are all good lines so far, man, in the discussion.
And I agree with that because I noticed that for me as a professional athlete, but as an athlete I always try to be very aware of what was going on in my body. So a time like this when I can see that many practitioners don't have the access of getting that physical contact on the muscle to diagnose it. At the end of the day, obviously that's the best thing. But right now, who knows that what could be better for the athlete, especially for young athletes, is this is a chance for there to be a practice of communication and for them to become more aware with their body just by basically you instructing them or guiding them and then them having to do that hands-on. So maybe that opens that up for that.
Right. Yeah. Again, like trying to tap into some new things and network and see what's working for people as well. And I know that'll be a discussion again in the future with some of the practitioners on here as their guests. But as an athlete, it's interesting to hear that this is a bit of a concern for you too, right? Like that hands-on stuff is important to athletes. And so it's not just us that's feeling it. And I also think it's important for you to hear as an athlete that like, we as practitioners, and I'm saying this as if I'm with you on a daily basis, but we spend enough time together that like I miss you as an athlete, not just because of like our ability to get hands-on, but being in the same room and doing this. Like this is important to know that people care. I think you would agree that your therapy staff and your training staff, your coaches, your brethren on the offensive line, like it's important to know that you care about each other. Are you having lots of contact with those guys or?
Yeah. So I see Britt and I see Valerie. I don't know if I see anybody else who's worked on me. I don't know if I miss anybody, but it's very important you say that because these are trainers, including yourself, James, that I've had that contact with. and the importance of knowing that someone actually cares about you and actually they want the best for you. And as for me, that's important because when I sit down on that table, I'm so paranoid that every time something is being touched, I'm just like, wait, what are you doing? What are you doing? But when you have that support as an athlete, that knowing that that people actually care, they're actually taking the time to show you exactly what's wrong and how we're going to fix it, create a plan. That's an important aspect of what's missing right now as well.
Yeah. And at the same time, again, if we flip it a little bit, like it's also a really great time for me to reach out and tell you, like, you had a huge impact in my life. On the sidelines, I was just thinking about, like, what can we talk about, man? Is there any stories we can put out there in public for the public eye to hear about some of the things we talked? We never had anything that was off the cuff, but standing on the sideline, I just remember and I think it was in your last year. Yeah, I think it was your last year, and you were standing on the sideline for like the only practice I can remember that you were actually on a sideline instead of fully engaged on the field. And we were just talking, and you were just taking a breath, right? Like that's what you were doing that day. I don't think you were hurt. I don't think there was anything going on, but you had checked in with yourself. You knew the draft was coming. You knew there was some things coming down the pipe, and you said, this is happening. Like, I'm getting drafted. This is what's going to happen. And we just talked about, we sat there and talked about life, but we talked about the plan, right? And how to get prepped for that. So how did that, maybe you could walk us through a little bit of the prep leading up to the draft. I know you spent a lot of time away from the field in the gym. You took some time with the therapy staff at York, myself as part of that, and the other practitioners there too, to get tinkered with and fix the little thing in your knee or the little thing in your elbow that was going on or was sort of recurrent throughout any football player's career, but certainly through a big guy like you playing the position that you do. And then you spent a lot of time with Adam, right, who was a really good resource for both you and Chris, who were getting ready for the draft at the same time. So maybe just walk us through like the prep for the draft. That's a cool angle that not a lot of people get to hear.
Okay, so the prep of the draft, that was a long time ago, so I'll try to detail it as best I can remember. The prep for the draft, it was an important time because, for example, I'll talk about the combine. You want to talk about the combine?
Yeah, you talk, man.
I'll talk about the combine. So just leading up to the combine, I knew that because of where I was in my career, this was only my second year playing offensive line. I didn't really have the name around the league and talking about the university league. So I knew that I had to perform well. So just getting ready for that combine, I knew that I had to test and I had to do one-on-ones and I had to be a beast. And so I really, 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 really trained myself like a professional. And that wasn't just before the combine. I was doing that for a lot of my time at York. Once I was able to mature physically and mentally and understand that I wanted to go pro, I was able to do that. But it was way more specific with the combine because everything was day to day. It was a schedule. It was like a 3-month schedule. And I was working with both Adam and KP at the time. And they were both prepping me for the combine. So I was doing a lot. I was putting a lot of toll on my body. And this was my first time experiencing this. So I didn't know. I didn't know what was what. Like I had shin splints one day and I didn't know if this was going to have some kind of residual effect later. Like everything was just like, oh, my hip, my this. And all the trainers at York were keeping me in check, keeping me healthy with these, like you said, my knee, my elbow, probably my hamstring, probably something else. I think I tore my hamstring a few weeks before that. It was a crazy time, but I definitely remember just being very regimented and scheduled in terms of my diet and making sure that I was training, but not just training, making sure that I was recovering. Recovering was very, very important. And I find that even now as a pro, recovering is essential. Like I spend a lot of time recovering, and I would advise any younger athlete to take that seriously.
Yeah, great stuff, man. And you talk about the interplay quite a bit. We had a really great setup where we had an integrated model at York where there was some performance personnel on the strength side, and I think it's still the case. I can't speak to it because I'm not there, but where there was really good integration with the strength side and the therapy side. And I know that made a difference for me, having that dialogue on a regular basis. How did that feel as an athlete? How does that feel as an athlete in the pro? Like, does it feel like the right and the left hands are talking to each other when you're with the Argos? The strength coaches know what's going on, as well as the the medical or paramedical personnel, the athletic therapists on the sidelines. I feel like it's a pretty good unit there. You don't have to speak. If it's not, you can say, yeah, it's great, or you can just say it's great because it is.
Yeah. So like you touched on that, that professional feeling has always been a blessing for me from my times at York to my times now at the Argos. Obviously, it's a lot different because you're in a different environment. One is the school environment where you're in a varsity program, and the other is you're a professional athlete, aka a self-contractor, meaning that you got to show up to work and you got to care about what you're doing in your body the most. Firstly, so there's a great communication in terms of when guys are injured, when guys get injured. There is a plan that is created with the training staff as well as the performance staff. But ultimately, as a professional, it's up to you to follow that, or it's just up to you. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's your job, right? If you're dealing with an injury or you're dealing with something who you think that can become an injury, it's your job to let the people who are educated in what they're doing, let them know and create a plan. So if you don't do that, that's on you.
Yeah. Interesting to hear. Like we talked about a couple times in the past sessions, just about, those athletes that aren't really fully accountable. They rely on the staff to do everything, stretch my hamstrings, figure out this out for me, do this for me, do that for me. Not to say that's a bad thing. I mean, some athletes are really in tune with their body and they need that, but you're at sort of the opposite end of the spectrum. You really hold yourself accountable for the work that needs to be done. And then the expectation is that the staff responds the same manner towards you. I think that's hugely beneficial for all parties involved, for sure, at that pro level. But I would even say that filters down to the university setting, the college settings, the amateur sport. Like, this is important. This is where we build trust, and this is where we build rapport, and we really generate it as an athlete-centric model, right? Where you're the focus, but you still are the focus so that you can be focused to do what you need to do, right? As well. So yeah, good stuff, man. Really good talking points on that. How about in terms of athletic therapists? I know you've had some really good ones, and then you've had like me, so some other end of the spectrum. But what makes a good therapist in your mind?
Okay, so everyone's gonna have a different opinion, and the reason why I say that is because teammates that I've had different experiences with different trainers, different ATs. And I've had a complete opposite experience than that. So I think it comes down to people person. At the end of the day, we're all different. We have our own attitudes. We're not going to get along with everyone. But for me, the most important thing from an AT is to know that you're going to help me with what I need to be helped with. But I'm not asking for you to baby. I'm not asking for you to take care of me. I just want there to be that understanding of, I'm here for this, and you have the answers, and let's find them together. I like to be very hands-on. I like to know exactly what's going on. So I like communication. Communication is important to me. It's like when I'm getting just like when I'm getting a regular massage, not like from the AT. When you go and you get a massage from a private studio, I prefer a massage where the person giving me massage is letting me know, like, okay, well, what's this feeling, or walking me through it and showing me different exercises versus just getting this package. I'm very big on communication. I'm very big on knowing what I should be doing after we're done the session. But I think that a negative thing that I've had with some trainers is when they don't believe you, or when they don't take what you're saying as serious. And they're basing that off of, I don't know, past experience or I don't know, or just, I don't know. But to me, that is something that is harmful. And I would like for ATs to know that I wouldn't advise that when you're dealing with athletes, because like James said earlier, trust is very important, and you have to build it. It's a bridge. When I got to know James, for example, what I like about James is he's just very blunt, very real. And what I mean by that is, in my first year at York, I gained probably 65 pounds because I was trying to make the roster next year. So I gained 65 pounds in 1 year, but it was a lot of fat. And I was having different, I forgot something was damaged. And I went in to see James, and I said, oh, like, what's going on? And he literally like stood there and detailed, okay, well, this is this and this is that. And okay, well, you have a lot of weight around your hip section. So, and for me, what that did for me is that helped me realize what I need to improve on and what I can improve on. And I found that I'm glad that James was there to be real with me, because if I didn't have that, I wouldn't have known what I needed to correct.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you left out all the expletives and probably all of the other bad things that I said and the bad angles, because, hey, man, I've come a long way in reflecting on some of those times and some of the things that we talked about at York and how driven I was on certain things. But I'm glad that I've had at least a little bit of positive impact. I know you've done that for me 100-fold. Just thinking about some of the conversations, looking how far you've gone, watching you from as a fan now, as a friend, as somebody I look up to in terms of your community involvement and all the things that you do away from the football field. So yeah, I appreciate you appreciate the sentiment and leaving out the stuff that you didn't like. Communication is massive. Education is massive. And these are things I think that that I've really shifted my mindset to is empowering the athlete as opposed to directing and really like, you need to do these things because I say so. That's not it. It's you need to do these things because of X, Y, and Z, because they're going to help you be able to do them on your own, right? To get better on your own. We're just here to coach, guide, mentor, these kind of things. And the athlete, you do it yourself with the guidance and you buy into the things that you feel are valuable. So appreciate that, man. Speaking of mentorship, a good question came in from Jeff. Were there any guys on the Argos, and you don't need to use specifics, you can just say yes or no, or you can use specifics, that mentored you when you first entered the league? It's obviously a shift from York to the Argos and the CFL. And if so, what did they do, or what advice did they give you? The stuff that you can share anyway.
Yeah. So definitely there was mentors. I had a few mentors all around from random guys on the team that just had a liking for me, or just guys in my position group and things like that. And for me, the biggest thing that stuck to me about mentorship and leaders, and the leader that I try to be is be someone who people who can come to you and say, okay, well, I don't have the answer for this, or I don't know how to do this. Can you show me a way to do this? For me, that's important. And I realized that sometimes when you're in a professional environment, a professional sports environment, there could be a lot of individuals who are just in their own world and they're not looking to do that. They're at a point in their career where maybe they're just feeding their family, and they're seeing that difference. So they're not looking for that. But then then you might be fortunate enough to be in a situation where I was in a situation where I had a guy named J. Mike, and he's an older than me offensive lineman. And he just came to the Argos, and he said, like, listen, like it's good to see the things that you're doing. Just keep doing what you're doing. And this is when I was a backup. And this is with him just saying, listen, just keep doing what you're doing. Your time's going to come. Just be ready for that time. And it was a lot of respect on both ways. It wasn't just him trying to say that I'm more veteran than you are, more older than you. You got to respect me. I actually respected him more because he treated me with respect. In that sense, yeah.
Yeah, this is a big thing, man. And you just embody this. You embody this respect. You embody this this overly mature feeling about the world and your outlook on life and your willingness for community. So I want to dive into that a little bit, because I think that's vastly important that we touch on that as far as like your time away from the field. You do a ton of work in the community, man. Maybe you just want to give us a little bit of rundown of what you're doing. We heard about a little bit in that video at the start, but your take on it and how that impacts you, and then what sort of feedback do you get from that?
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I'm from Jane Finch in Toronto. Obviously, that's a priority neighborhood, one of Toronto's priority neighborhoods. So for me, giving back, it's not even something I think of. It's something that I've always been doing. I've always been involved with. I grew up with my mom. My mom's a single mom. I have we have 4 children. We all have different fathers. We grew up in not the best of environments. We grew up, just depending on food banks sometimes, depending on support from family, friends for housing, different things like that. So for me, I always understood, that everything that every time I got something in life, I understood that it was a blessing and God blessed me with it. And I always thought it was important to make sure that I do my part in making sure that younger kids understand their role in life and what they can make of it and how important choices are. And that's something that it's just, like I said, it's just something I've always done. Before, when I was in university, I had a tutoring program in Jane and Finch where we tutored kids in the neighborhood, and we focused on marks. And then we had a boys club. We had a boys club where we focused on sports, but we also focused on academics as well. And I want to see those things continue to grow, not just in that community, in all of Toronto. I'm hoping to have a bigger impact with that. This last Thanksgiving, I was able to, we were able to donate some turkeys to people, some high school students from C.W. Jeffries, Emory, Westview, all in Jane and Finch. And I want to grow that. I want to grow that this year and potentially reach out to other poverty neighborhoods like Rexdale, Regent Park. And the reason why this is important to me is because you don't know the impact that you're going to have on someone's life, and you don't know who's going to be who. Just like I was the boy that I didn't really have an idea of where I was going, of what I wanted, but now look at where I am. And oftentimes I speak to so many youth that maybe their story resonates with me a little bit, and all they really need is guidance. And that's why I understand how important communication is, because a lot of times they don't even know what they're doing is wrong. But the thing is, when you tell someone, listen, at the end of the day, what you're doing is wrong and you can choose to do right, now they have a choice. I'm not telling you to make this choice. I'm telling you, now you know that there's another choice. Now you can make that choice. And to me, that's very important in just teaching kids that. And yeah, I'm going to be involved with that, and I'm going to continue to give back. And I have a lot of plans in the future. I'm not going to talk about it because it didn't happen yet, but God willing, hopefully everything happens, and hopefully I can continue to be a positive role model in some people's eyes.
Yeah, listen, man, I don't think that takes any work. You're already a positive role model to all the teammates you had in at York, to the staff. I can speak from experience myself, conversations that I've had with other people, conversations that I had with some of the Argos staff after you got drafted. They asked a little bit about you and all these kinds of things, man. You're just such a humble guy. And for anybody who doesn't know, like, I'd say stand up, but the camera box is really small. You just look at some of the stuff on his Instagram account, and which is at he is too tall, right? Yeah.
Because I'm too tall.
Yeah, he's too tall. At he is too tall on Instagram, and you just see this guy. I mean, you see his smile, and you see him in a room full of kids. It's an amazingly powerful thing to see. And like you said, you give back, and you don't even think twice about it, and that's kind of one of these things that I see about this time that we're living in right now. Is this is a struggle for everybody. And I think if there's one message that's going to come out of this struggle for everybody, it's that the more unified we are, the better off everybody is. If I go to the grocery store and buy 16 cartons of milk, knowing that there's a lineup of people that need milk,
yeah,
that doesn't serve anybody other than myself, and ultimately it ends up hurting everybody. So your work is amazing, man. We could dive into that. We could probably spend the next 2 hours, if not more, talking about all that. But I just want everybody to know that this guy is much more than a football player with the Argos. A ton of community-based work. Been doing it since you can even remember. I'm sure it's just been part of who you are, and you can really feel that in that story in Crossroads. But even just having you here, man, and this is the idea, is to get everybody in the room and everybody in this chat here to sort of unify. for the purposes of getting together during this time and beyond, right? We're trying to grow our profession a little bit, gain some notoriety in the country of Canada, and then, make some connections and all these networks and grow so that all of us can be better off as a whole. That's kind of my target with this. And I'll be honest, Jamal, like I thought about this, and as I started doing this and trying to make this into a network, like I thought about you, because you do this all the time. It's like every room this guy walks into, all of a sudden it's like molecules like just come together. Like you bring things out in people just by, your delivery, the way you smile, all these kinds of things. I don't know what I would do. Yeah, man. I don't know what I would do if I was lined up on the defensive line across.
Oh, that's a different game. That's a whole different game. I'm a whole different person on the field. On the field, I'm a whole different person. I have to separate the two.
100%, 100%. And I think everybody knows that just from listening to you speak here, and then anybody who's lined up either in practice or in a game against you, man. So, how were things looking for you guys as a team with the Argos? You guys had a lot of turnover. You went through a little rough patch after winning the Grey Cup. How are things looking, or how are things? I'll keep it positive. How are things looking for the upcoming season? Whether that's this year or next, who knows? But how are things looking as a team?
So pretty much with the new additions to having Pinball and Murphy come along and just be there and kind of like try to help transition the organization into winning football again, we've had great additions. We have our new head coach, Dinwiddie. We have all the assistants, our offensive coordinator, defense coordinator, special teams coordinator. We have Ivan still there. We have there's a lot of players. Like you said, there's a lot of turnover in the players, but we have a lot of great additions. Like when I'm talking about anybody who's seen some of the additions, you'll know. But I think the most important thing that we're trying to get back to is just having that culture again, the winning culture, and just realizing how important every individual is in an organization, not just for example, the starting quarterback or whatever, but just everyone has a role, right? From all the staff, everyone's involved, the therapy, the chefs in the kitchen, the video coordinator, everyone has a role. And at the end of the day, if we're all united and we all come together for this goal and we have this vision of winning a championship and bringing the winning culture back to Toronto and having that just consistent overtime, eventually it's going to happen. And I'm excited to be a part of this. And I look forward to when we actually get back on the field. And for anybody who wants to witness this, you're going to witness this. It's going to be a very fun time. And I can't wait to get back on the field. I'm not going to lie. There's days when it's ups and downs, as I imagine that everyone's going through. Sometimes I wake up and I feel like, wow, like the season's not going to happen. But then I have days when I'm like, you know what? No, like, don't worry about that. Just focus on continuing to train. Just make sure that when it does happen, that you're ready. Like there's no doubt in your mind. There's no, I should have done this, I could have done this. No, like just focus on that.
Yeah, awesome. Great outlook, man. And I'll if and when we get back, I'll be on the I'll get as close to the sideline as they'll let me. I'll get a check. I got to check you out in that rival blue and white color. I think I'm used to seeing you in the opposite end of the Toronto colors. But man, that's awesome. I still have the jersey, and as soon as I get back, it's going up in a frame, and I'm going to get a place to put it and make sure that we respect that, and then we'll get you in there, and we'll see how that goes. But hey, man, listen, we're touching close to an hour here. If you have a little bit more time, I'd love to keep chatting. If not,
if you love to keep chatting, I can keep going.
Let's keep going then. Let's keep rolling. If anybody has any questions specific,
let's make it a discussion.
There we go. Yeah, let's open it right up. You have a willing co-host, guest in there. But let me just ask you one more thing, man. We as therapists, we kind of ride this fine line between being a member of the staff, but having to have the trust with you, right? You, the athlete. I'm just going to say you in general. Where do you see it as an athlete? Like, where do you see the training staff, the strength coaches? Let's leave them out, but like the therapist specifically, how do you look at them? You look at them as like, here's somebody that I'll just leave it. I won't lead you. Yeah. How do you feel?
And I'm glad that you touch on that, because it's very important that it's very that relationship is very important, right? Because a lot of the times, players, especially on a professional level, things that happen in terms of injuries and things that could affect maybe their when they get back on the field and things like that. So I think for me, the way I view my therapist that I've had good relationships with is I see them way more than just a staff member, or way more than I see them as this. The same way I go and I shake my teammate's hand is the same way I shake their hand, right? As long as that's mutual for me. At the end of the day, I understand that there's a job and that they have to do, and they have to make sure that I'm ready to play, and they have to report to the people above about that. But as long as we have a working relationship and we have a good communication, and I don't step on your toes, you don't step on my toes, then we're good. And you'll see that successful ATs, a lot of them have that ability to be able to have bonds with players. Very rarely, and I've seen this in the past, you'll have maybe someone come in and you can just their personality is not like what the majority of the guys are or girls are there, and it just doesn't work. But but it's very important, and it's more than just titles. It's people, right? It's bonds. It's bigger than that. Like at the end of the day, you were my trainer how many years ago, and I can call you a friend today. That's bigger than you just you just working on my elbow.
Yeah. And I think that's important for younger therapists to know, for those that are still students. That's a really hard time for me. Looking back, that's a really difficult time because as a student therapist, you're about the same age, and you're in the same cohort, you're in the same classes, you're in the same bars, you're in the same whatever as the athletes that you're working with. So making that distinction early on. All right. When I'm at work, I'm going to be at work. When I'm at the bar, if I'm the bar hopping, beer drinking, I'm going next to Jamal and I'm going to have, 3 beers with Jamal. And then the next day show up to try to make you better, get you better, have a conversation where I say, listen, I got to remove you from the game. And we have to make a really hard decision here after I've been out drinking with you. And let's not even say drinking. Let's just say out having a meal with you that was because we're friends. I always found that really difficult as a professional coming back. But even as a student, I made a point of saying okay, I'll be friendly with everybody that I can. Personalities aside, sometimes they do clash for sure. But but I'm not going to be friends with anybody until this is done, right? And then you leave, you go be an Argo, and now we're friends. We can call each other friends. I'll come over and eat some of that chicken that I've seen you making on the grill. Holy cow, that looks good, man. That looks better than any cuisine I've had in I don't know how long. So if and when you're ready and I'm close enough to actually eat it, I'm coming over and you're cooking, okay?
I got you on some chicken.
So that's it. It's kind of this idea of friendly enough but not crossing the border, because once you go ahead.
And that's why I said a professional working relationship. Yep. Because you just like a lot of teammates that you have, you're not going to be friends with a lot of the teammates that you have outside of that. But if you have a professional working relationship between you guys, who knows? Maybe one day down the line, you may see another side of that person and you're going to become friends with them, right? And that happens a lot, especially with younger players and older players. So a lot of the young guys, they didn't get to know Ricky Ray. So it's the same. It would be the same thing as a relationship with an AT.
Yeah, exactly, man. And it's also it's also really hard to recover from a stumble, definitely in the pro world. If I go too far and we had a thing when I was working in professional baseball is after the game, or after once a week or once every 2 months, we go out and have a drink, myself and the strength coach. And if any player walked into that bar, we just had a signal that they had to leave, or else we had to leave, because that's just not a thing that we wanted to enter. They might have been underage because it was the U.S. and they were probably less than 21 at the time. But B, if a problem happens or an issue happens, that's not good. So then it's advising outside of your duty as a therapist, but at the same time, you're not allowing yourself to cross the border. They buy you a drink and then they expect something the next day in terms of treatment. You buy them a drink or a meal. These kinds of things they go both ways, right?
Yeah.
And again, coming back around to the student thing, is it's really difficult as a student therapist because you're the same age as everybody, but you have to put that career-centric focus at the forefront, right? I'm going to do this for a living. If I do this now, this could potentially lead to me not getting a job or me not be taken seriously down the road, right? And it's hard to think that way when you're young, but as a student therapist, I would advise, and younger therapists just getting out there and trying to make an entrance into the world, it's that's a really fine line. It's great to hear you and your sentiment on that. So appreciate that, man. Good question. Yeah. Good question just came in from Kathy. Do you ever feel pressured to perform, and how do you handle that pressure? And that's from her son, actually, who's a teenager. So that's a really good question.
Okay, so I feel a lot of pressure. But the thing is, at the end of the day, in everything that we're doing in life, we're going to feel pressure. But there's two results that could happen. You're either going to burst your pipe, you're going to burst the pipe with the pressure, or you're going to make a diamond. So there's going to be pressure regardless. To me, I just choose to thrive in pressure. I choose to embrace it. For example, I've been a backup my whole career until last year, halfway through the season. And I knew that when I got that first start, I knew that the pressure was on me because there were so many different results of what could happen. He could fail. He could have the worst games. Why did we trust to put him out there? All these things. But I said, no, I'm going to choose to look at what I've prepared to do and what I'm going to do. And I'm going to go out there and I'm going to earn the spot. I'm going to take the spot, and it's going to be my spot forever. So at the end of the day, there's always going to be pressure, but I just say to focus on what you want in that pressure. Embrace it. Bring it all. It's going to be there. You might as well make it your friend.
Hey man, choices, right? This is the thing, right? You've taught yourself so well to be able to make that everything in your mind is a choice. I can go one way or I can go the other. I can sit neutral. And this is a big lesson. And again, this time more than any really drives that home. I can think about all the things that aren't going to happen or aren't happening, or I can try to make the most of this in every manner that I can. I can connect with people that can help me. I can help people by connecting, even if it's through a computer screen or through a chat box or whatever it is. But these are the opportunities to make choices, and making good ones goes a long way. Way more than 100%. Agreed. Drop that as I had a question on my phone. But anyway, so really good answer, man. And appreciate that as well. Really good question. Hope that helps.
That was a good question.
Everybody. So, so feel free if you want to unmute yourself and ask a question with Jamal. You want to type it in, feel free. We are an hour and 5 minutes in. Let's cut this thing off at an hour and 10. So we'll go 5 more minutes. You cool with that?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Great. Awesome, man. Oh, let me get this phone because I had a good one in here. I had a friend of mine, a practitioner as well, who just said, you're only, how old are you? You're 26, right?
Yeah, I'm 26, yeah.
Yeah, so he said he's only 26. I was just fact checking that he got it right, but he's only 26, still so young, but really, really well spoken. Did you ever think about what you're going to do after your playing career?
Yeah, 100%. That's something that I think a lot of football players think of, especially because your career is so short and it can be over in one snap. So I find myself thinking about that a lot. I went to school and studied sociology. I don't really see myself. I don't see right now. I don't really see how I can apply that. What I want to do is I want to get into business of some sort. So right now I'm just taking the time to educate myself and learn and see what are possible education programs that I can pursue so that I can be ready for that in this transition of football. And hopefully that's not soon. But hopefully when it does come, I'm prepared. And so that's what I be
Yeah.
That's
Awesome.
what I do.
Yeah. Awesome. And it doesn't need to be even targeted, but you and I had some discussion maybe a couple months ago. It's funny that question comes up because you and I have some things we need to cross some T's on and dot some I's on too in the future for sure. Yeah. So really good question over here on the right. It's pending. Jeff got disconnected briefly, but are you watching Tiger King on Netflix?
Oh man, that show is crazy. That show is crazy. That show is crazy. Do you think that she killed her husband?
Oh my gosh! So you're watching it?
I've seen periodically some of the stuff in it.
Yeah. Okay, so he's on the board. I think what are we at now? 3-2, because I didn't ask the practitioners last week for theirs, right? So I think yes is up to 3 now. I think, am I correct? Somebody else who's following along and keeping track at home.
I'm watching Money Heist or whatever that's called, Money Heist, or the one in Spain. That show's addicting.
Okay. All right. That was the next question: is what's the best show on Netflix? So you win. You're ahead of the game as always.
It's just so perfect. Everything's so well timed. It's almost like James thought about a program that's going to get you on the field in exactly 3 weeks and 2 days, and you're going to have to do this, and that, and you're going to need the help of Britt and Valerie and everybody else to do that, and it's going to work perfectly and smooth. And when it messes up, it's still going to work perfectly.
Yeah, don't give that one away just yet. That's what we were talking about. All right, good question, Kat. With the Argos, you get to work with student therapists during training camp. Can you speak on your experiences and any advice you have for new therapists who have goals to work with teams? Great question.
Yeah, that is a great question because it's so possible for young student therapists to get that opportunity. And I've come in contact with so many because during training camp, I forgot how many they hire, but I think they hire an additional 4 or 6. So you get a fresh 6 or 4 every year. And it's just the best advice I can give to you is don't get just understand like why you're there, learn, enjoy it. But like we talked about earlier, having that professional, that professional relationship, because a lot of times some trainers, they may get caught up in just trying to be cool with everyone. But that's not necessarily doing what's the right thing, because there might be a decision where there's a bench and there's 2 people waiting to get on it, and now you might be inclined to have to think one way because of your thoughts for someone, and that can create problems. But definitely it's a great experience. You just have to be open-minded. You have to realize that you're coming in a different environment than dealing with university students, because you're going to be coming to an environment with some guys that are like, no, this is exactly what I need. I need it done this way, that way. Oh, and if it's not done that way, they'll just cut it off right there and go to someone else. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm just saying, don't feel the pressure to don't overthink it. At the end of the day, we're all human beings. We're all there for the same purpose, to gain something, get something out of it. So just enjoy it.
Yeah. And those mundane tasks as a student therapist or as somebody who's there with a mentor or there as a role as a student therapist or somebody in training camp to learn, just don't say no to any of those mundane tasks, not because they're character building, but you do them. And that's in athletes' minds. Jamal, you could speak to this maybe better than I can. It's if you see me, the one going and filling water and bringing it back, you're going to get just seeing that person being active.
Yeah, it's respect, and knowing that you could have got out of that, or just seeing you do that, it just shows that you're here to work. And if I'm here to work and you're here to work, at the end of the day, it's just going to be a better environment for everyone at the end of the day.
Yeah, and we've had a couple guests on that have really touched on that. The women's hockey coach from York, I think from your time there, Dan was there, and he brought all of these points very much to the forefront, just as you have, in terms of each part of the machine needs to be driven to do its part so that the whole can really if we're talking about a wheel, it's going to roll and it's not going to have any wobbly parts or an axle falling off or something like that, because that axle's not doing what it needs to do. So you've touched on it. Coaches have touched on it. All the trainers, baseball trainers both touched on it, as well as I think the mental health coach we had on last week and the MD that we had on too. So really, really good stuff, man. We're at 1:11, so I went over the hour and 10 that we talked about. So let me just close out by first and foremost, thanking you for being here, Jamal. Your time is, I really respect having you here. I really respect you taking the time. And again, like, I'm humbled that you would come on here, spend this time with us. Really appreciate you sharing your insights from the pro football world, from your journey in your community, and just taking the time out with us, man. Honestly, thank you so much.
Well, and I just want to say thank you for having me, and I'm definitely privileged to be a part of this. And I'm grateful to see your growth and just to see how this has an effect on so many people. And I'm glad that I was able to be a part of this. And I just want to say, everyone, be safe out there and just stick to your routine. We'll get through this together, and we'll unite. Bob Marley, you forgot to ask me. I saw something say, Bob Marley, One Love. Everyone listen to that at the end of the day before you go to bed, and you'll have a nice, relaxed sleep.
Yeah, that's like namaste to that one. Yeah, exactly. Everybody else, thank you very much for being here, attending again. As always, please keep spreading the word. That cool little trailer through iMovie is up on the YouTube channel. Put some resources up. This will go up as soon as I can get it up. Sunday, I had to rejig the schedule a little bit. We're going to stick with football. We're going to have another athlete on, but we're actually going to dive into rehab a whole bunch on some major injuries. So we're going to dive into rehab on a multiple ligament tear in the ankle, as well as a fib fracture, what the rehab looked like, what the injuries felt like, and really dive in on that one. With another CFL athlete as well. So not to minimize Jamal's time and being here, really, really appreciate that. We're going to keep this football thing rolling. Hey, if you got nothing to do Sunday night, 7:45, we're going to be back here again with the Polish guy, with the Polish guy that's now a member of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
My boy, Doug.
Yeah, he's squatting all the things that he can squat in the garage or wherever he is. And see Emerson down there being like, oh, yeah. Yeah, so we'll have him on, but we're going to take a little bit of a different angle for the therapists in the room and for everybody in the room. We're really going to look at some time that Chris and I spent and the therapy staff at York spent diving into to a conservative approach to a multiple ligament tear in an ankle for a center. So if you know football, that's a pretty ankle heavy, need lots of stability, and he opted to go with some advice, and we'll talk about what that discussion felt and looked like on his end, on our end with our surgeons. Really, really cool that we can dive into that. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Jamal, man, your insight is amazing. Everybody check him out on Instagram if you want to, at He Is Too Tall. And hey, man, I look forward to having you on again. And please be safe, keep training, and
I'll see you soon.
Hey, one-on-one, let's do a yoga session.
Okay, so yeah, you let me know.
All right, deal. All right,
later.
All right. This is Let's Chat, an athletic therapy roundtable. This is session 7. We're back on Sunday night. Thank you, everybody, for your time.
Bye.
To it. Thank you.
Thanks again for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of this community. Check us out online, firststartherapy.com. That's FIRSTAR therapy.com. Or email us with feedback, consult@firststartherapy.com. CONSULT@firststartherapy.com. On Instagram @firststar.therapy, and our podcast host @letschat.at. This is First Star Let's Chat, an athletic therapy podcast.